Thank you everyone for joining us on day 2 of our presentation. We are today joined by myself, Jahanara Monaf, and my colleague, Professor Dr. Rafiq Islam. We're going to go through Q&A session and then we're going to discuss further about Islam.
The first, after yesterday's first presentation, we had a series of questions from many people, actually, from all walks of life, from different countries. So we'll just put the question first, and then we'll discuss the answer.
Okay, the main vision behind this course is to raise awareness and educate the masses on traditional Islamic and Chinese medicine. We have every intention of expanding and teaching it practically in each student's country to develop more TICM practitioners worldwide.
Yeah, that's the first concern. You see, the idea is this is not to create a line of so-called professionals who go out and make money. This is really to educate people. And so this can immediately start the they can immediately avoid destroying their health through the so-called medical system or the so-called healthcare system, and they're empowered with the knowledge, enough knowledge so they can treat themselves. And this is why right in the beginning of this volume 4, we discussed how the whole animal kingdom is always is engaged in self-medication. It's the only human we have to rely on somebody else, meaning other people. And it turns out for the last, over 100 years, we do not have real caring people doing the being the caregiver. Yeah. And that disconnection has destroyed the healthcare system, and we have fallen victim to very toxic lifestyle. So this kind of empowerment is reminiscent of what was going on during Prophet's time and subsequent Rashidun Khalifa. So it's no exaggeration that we're trying to revive true Islamic lifestyle and the healthcare system.
So just to give you a small snippet of what we'll be discussing and going further into detail on the course is the West versus East. So when understanding food by Western standards, it's broken down by its basic nutrients. They are as follows: carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, mineral, and fiber. Whereas in traditional Islamic and Chinese medicine, we look at the characteristics such as yin and yang, which is hot and cold, the thermal nature, such as cold, cool, neutral, warm, hot, the 5 flavors: salty, sour, bitter, pungent, sweet, the organs affected and the meridians they enter, the actions of each flavor and each thermal nature, chi, the life force, or building blood, or both. By looking at the foods and its energetics, we are truly able to use food as medicine. For example, almost all animal protein is considered to be yang in its essence. Yang energy builds chi. People who do lots of physical labor, who exert themselves doing physical work, need more yang to build back their energy, while someone who does not can get away with much less amounts of proteins. The TICM Foundation is always based on using foods, herbs, and spices to nourish the organ systems. This is because if your organ systems are not working properly, it doesn't matter which foods, supplements, juices, medicine you are putting in. If your spleen and stomach are not digesting, they certainly won't be able to transmit and transport the nutrients to where they need to go. That is why we characterize food by its essence, because that is how we know how to eat to satisfy the organ and use food medicinally to heal the root imbalance. Foods contain more energy than anything else we ingest.
That's great. So it's right away when we are talking about healing with food, we don't need somebody else. So that would you care to explain a little bit what is qi and what is yang?
Yang is warming in nature, hot. Qi is life force.
Okay, so qi would be equivalent to the driving force behind everything.
Driving
that
force,
we cannot
yes.
see, but we cannot explain because it's not physical. It's like the soul of the activities, yeah?
Correct.
Okay. And yang is the expression?
Yes. So there are 3 yang principles: the exterior, excess, and heat.
Okay.
Samples of yang symptoms would be irritability, a red face, hot sensation in the body, a coarse breathing, loud voice, thirst for cold drinks, constipation. A lot of people will have a floating and surging pulse. It will be rapid and forceful, whereas yin would be the complete opposite.
And yin would be what? Like
so yin, the 3 principles of yin qualities are cold, deficiency, and interior. Samples of yin symptoms are low spiritedness, pale complexion, cold limbs, feeble voice, loose bowels, clear profuse urine, a pale tongue, a slow and weak pulse.
So yin yang is like water and fire.
Correct.
So that when it's in balance, we're okay. And when one of them is imbalanced, the other one takes over, we have burning, right?
Correct.
So if you have enough water in your food, it doesn't burn, it cooks very well. But if you don't have enough water, then it burns. Same
Correct.
time, if you do not have enough heat, it doesn't cook. It becomes something else, like it becomes
Yes.
soggy mess. Thank you for clarifying that. Would you know what would be the qi in Arabic, in Islam, in Islamic medicine?
Qi. I'll come back to this question.
Yeah. I was wondering if it is related to, we know that ruh, which is the soul, but qi itself is the driver, but we have to find out what.
Qi is the driver of everything, the circulating life energy. Qi drives blood. Without qi, life cannot exist.
It would be probably, it would be like quwwat, la hawla la quwwata illa billah, right?
Correct. Yes.
So qi does come from God. In Chinese, they say qi comes from Shen, right? Shen is the creator.
Yes.
So scientifically, it makes sense that all our qi is coming from God, right?
Yes.
And if you are disconnected, right, then nothing can give you qi. A dead person, it doesn't matter how much yang or yin you put, how much fire and water you add, without qi,
yes.
there will be nothing. There is no life. So
yes,
makes sense. And sure enough, I think it is also connected to ruh at the end, which is the soul. And unlike modern science, in Chinese medicine, I believe that every organ has a soul.
Correct.
So it all makes sense. So there's next question. It was not a question, actually, it's more like a suggestion. A Muslim fellow actually said, in your future presentations, kindly include and or touch base on quantum biology, and it's in quote and unquote. I don't think it's actually a phrase that is used. And quantum physics, which is well known, astrophysics as well. So he wants us to touch base with quantum biology, quote unquote, quantum physics and astrophysics. So that's first suggestion. I thought about it, and the first slide we showed, you'd recall, we talked about intention playing a role. So I'm really a bit confused. What is the intention of this question? To me, quantum biology or quantum physics, as well as astrophysics, the new astrophysics, is the height of dogma. I don't know if people know it or not. This fellow, certainly, I don't know if he's in favor or if he wants us to deconstruct, but quantum physics is the one that created this notion. Then you can be A and not A at the same time. You can be a man and a woman at the same time. You can be 6-year-old girl in need of home care, as well as a 56-year-old father of 6 at the same time. So this notion actually came from original suggestion of Einstein. And Einstein did that because he could not explain certain phenomena. So instead of trying to answer those questions, he said, well, they all exist at the same time. So you can be a scientist from Earth, or you could be a monkey from out of galaxy at the same time. Literally, quantum physics has created this notion that history is not unique. Imagine that, meaning history is subjective. We see where it is going to. What started off with dogma, that 3 in 1, if you recall the Trinity notion, 3 God in 1 God and whatnot, which actually created this mess of cognition deficiency. People stopped to think. Now it's not 3 only, it's infinity. Why infinity? Because the moment you talk about history being non-unique, every particle, every object has history. That history, so if you have billion people, we have billion history. And what you are saying that each of them has multiple paths of history. That means literally infinity. So from 3, they went to infinity. Ultimately, what they said, that what you perceive as a fact is a fact for you. So all of a sudden, truth does not matter. Truth is what you perceive it as. So if you feel today that you're a woman or a man or a 5-year-old, you are it. This is the ultimate insult to Creator. And that's really the essence of this whole quantum mechanics process. And that's why in our 2015 book, we started much earlier, but 2015 book, the volume 1, I would actually post it on YouTube, perhaps, the link. It is there, something we will discuss also. First thing we did, we deconstructed quantum physics. We talked about Einstein's theory. Not only that, we talk about also Newton's. And I mentioned at the time, if you are married to these theories, then you are wrong-headed. No, more you dig, more diverted you become. You go far away from the truth. And that's why, remember, we were talking about Islam being the only scientific system. So in today's presentation, you'll see how if you deviate from the first premise, true premise, and you do not question the invalidity or the illogicality of that premise, somebody tells you that there are multiple histories, and you say, well, that's fine. Somebody tells you that life, the universe started with 0 volume and infinite mass. Imagine that. What a great contradiction. And you say, that's fine, because it's Einstein saying it, I'm going to buy it. Then you're wrong-headed. That means, you know what wrong-headed means? You are standing on your head. So no matter what happens, you see the world upside down. So that's what happened to this whole new science. And that's true for everything, including economics, energy management, everything you can see, the banking system, engineering, physics, mathematics even. Everything is seen upside down because they have literally taken dogma, Trinity, to infinite number. They have insulted truth. And all of a sudden, objective truth has become subjective perception to be truth. So that's the answer to the first suggestion. And I covered this, by the way, we covered that in 2015 book for what? About 150 pages of this book. But even in volume 4, we have touched upon this, and we actually teach in the very first chapter, the introduction, how to think. Because if you do not know how to think, how can you possibly diagnose a disease? So you have to know how to think. And as you said yesterday, thinking is the most important trait. Actually, this is the most unique trait of humans. If you cannot think, we have absolutely no identity. And that is important to know how to think. And we talked about Akul and all this. So next question or suggestion is, if a comprehensive juxtaposition of synthesizing the Iqra and Quran, you see, Quran within parentheses is citing. Do you know the meaning of the word Quran? Literally, it means collection of Iqra. Bunch of deductions. Quran does not offer the full picture. It gives the deductive tools. So Iqra and Quran have the same root, Qira. And it's not recitation. Recitation is a different word in Arabic. We call it tilawat and all this. It's not same root at all. So I don't know what is meant here, but we do not need to use big words. Iqra is deduction, and we're honing in on the meaning of Iqra in this presentation that we could not finish, and we'll continue today. Along with the understanding, thus communicating effectively. First thing about communication is to find out what is your perspective. You can't show the facts to anybody, right? It means nothing to that person. Two things are needed. First, your intention has to be good. If you have any other intention than finding the truth, you'll be misguided. No way. You'll only get justification of your intention. If you see somebody being murdered and your intention is actually to egg that murderer on, you find justification. So it means nothing. The facts mean nothing. And the great display of that is going on today in the political arena. So first thing about communicating, and we'll mention, it's very interesting that this comment comes, and would see that first thing about communication is to openly declare your intention and your premise. So remember that, because we'll be using that in the next slide. So other question I have is, where's the phone? A brother who's a medical student, he asked, how do you describe, he has not read the book, but he is very interested in this topic and has been in communication. He said, how do you describe the science of meridian? You see this meridian and the flow. Of course, meridian is not, in new science, we talk about blood flow, we talk about what is it, the nervous system, we talk about even this pituitary gland and all this, like several systems there are, but meridian is something else. It's not blood, it's not nervous system, is something that where the chi flows, and of course it is difficult to explain. So the brother wanted us to kind of explain the science of meridian flow and how chi flows there. What does it mean in scientific way? Science means here.
In a nutshell, we say the TICM meridians are strings of connecting acupuncture points, which are considered as passageways through which our energy, the chi in our body, flows. The meridian system is composed of 12 principal meridians, each of which connects to an organ system and extends to an extremity and 8 collaterals. But we'll go into more details on this in our course later on.
And it's not, it doesn't follow either blood or nervous system. It's completely different.
Yes.
Does the nervous system or the node coincide with any of these points, or they're separate?
It'll probably most likely would be the Sanjiao channel, which is closest to the lymphatic system in Western medicine.
Lymphatic is the one I was missing, that one. So it's not, if by working on these points, you are not going to puncture a nervous point or nerve.
Absolutely not. No, we don't puncture anything. We don't cause trauma to the body.
Excellent. The other question I had is, say you are doing, it goes with that science, I guess. You're doing, you're massaging your yin tang. If you can show the point on your in between eyebrow, and you are just doing circle massage. How does that calm you down? Because it does calm you down. If you are having difficulty sleeping, yes. If you are having difficulty sleeping, it calms you down in between eyebrow. So, what is possibly going on?
The yin tang acupressure points in between the eyebrows. Is that the one? Yeah.
Yes.
So that has a direct link to the heart, and it sedates, anchors the shin, which is known as the spirit, is the loose translation of shin in English.
Yes. And why does it calm you down? What does it work on?
Okay, so basically when you massage that point, it works on calming the shin, the spirit, stress, anxiety, and any cardiovascular conditions. Other things it may treat is pain, insomnia, headaches, and even cancer.
And how? It works with the shin.
It stimulates the body's cardiovascular responses. It positively influences the body's balance in its biological systems, and it helps the body return to normal functioning, which is known as homeostasis in Western medicine.
So the shin, which is so this is in the forehead, and that's the place. This forehead is very important in Islam, isn't it? That's
it is, yes.
Calendar when you go to sujood, that's the one that is touching the ground, right? That's the most. I think when it comes to shin, that's the connection point with earth and with the creator, and so it would kind of indicate that you know, so many times in Quran it is mentioned that the one with the bad guys would have the marking on their forehead, right? Forehead
correct.
Is right. That's the place you get your ID. Your identification is slapped on your forehead. So it kind of makes sense.
Microchipping.
Yeah, it's like microchipping. That's it.
Like a cat.
That really makes sense. So and that's the one you are, in a way, you are reconnecting with Shane, the creator.
Yes.
Wonderful. I think we'll wrap this up, and then we'll make another video for the actual presentation. Is that okay?
That's perfect.
All right.